a lesson. I'm not even trying yet. Explosive.
What's up, everyone? This is Rattlehead coming at you guys with a brand new video along with a brand new fighting game. Welcome to Invincible Versus. Before I begin, and for those who might be new to my channel, I want to first of all introduce myself to the team at Skybound who are working on this game. My name is Carlos and I go by Rattlehead, and I am a fighting game consultant that previously worked with NetherRealm Studios to provide accessibility, specifically blind accessibility feedback on their latest title, Mortal Kombat, which is now considered one, if not the most accessible fighting game for the blind and visually impaired. The purpose for this video is to provide feedback on some improvements that I came up with along with TJ the Blind Gamer, who also made a video discussing his opinions about the game. I will put his video on the description, so be sure to check that out as well. What I would like to do today in this video, first of all, this might come out probably after the beta is done, or it could come out during the beta weekend that is happening at the time of the recording of this video. Of course, there has been some closed alpha testing by some players that had the opportunity to test it out. And of course, there are pro top players testing this game as well. But we don't know if there's an accessibility consultant working on this game or giving their feedback. So I would like to also provide my experience along with the feedback to improve what this game could do in order for it to become more blind accessible. Now, I do want to say though that this game already has great sound design. So huge shout outs to the sound design team at Skybound, because the game does sound incredible. From the music to the fighting itself, the action, the character dialogue, everything. It sounds massive, it sounds out of control, and it's combo heavy. The announcer is awesome. He's always active. You know, he's all in the fights, giving you your props, you know, and all of that good stuff. So this game has so much potential to be more blind accessible, and we'll get into that. Throughout this video, we will be using Mortal Kombat 1 as the prime example of some of the things that could be implemented, not just in this game, but any fighting game. Because by nature, most of us who have been blind for a long time have always played fighting games one way or another, whether it's even by memorizing menus. A good example I can show you right now is that I can go down twice from this menu, and that there's training mode. And because it came from memorization, and also a guide nowadays where we also have people who put written guides of how the game looks like, or with all the text that's in there letting us know how many times we need to go down to access training mode and all of that. So in saying that, there will be a resource on the description as well. Shout outs to BlindSightBlue who put this together for Invincible versus blind players to access the beta in the meantime, and potentially having to use it when the game comes out as well. So without further ado, let's jump into what this video is all about, which is providing accessibility feedback for the blind. So one of the things that I would like to start with right away is one of the main things that will make this game completely 100% accessible to begin with is focused on the UI, on the user interface. So if this features will be implemented, it would help a lot on basically giving us access to the whole game. What I'm referring to is a screen reader or a text-to-speech feature, which is available already on people's consoles, such as an Xbox, a PlayStation, even the Switch now, the Switch 2, and on PCs. PCs, most people have their own version of a screen reader software or a text-to-speech software that reads information that's on the screen for them in a UI. whether it's Windows, whether it's whether it's the console interface like the PS5 or the Xbox. There's a screen reader already in the system. What this game could benefit from that, so that way we don't have to memorize things, and we could get access to things like the audio, games, like game settings, accessibility, right? Being able to access all of that. The reason why I know now is because, yet again, that menu guide from BlindSightBlue and allowed myself and other blind players to memorize these menus. One of the things that I do want to point out real quick though is that this menu does not, what we call wrapping or loop. It's not looping. Once you reach the bottom part of it, that's it. No more. So that means, oh, maybe I need to go 3 times up to get to audio. Oh wait, I'm at the top. I need to go down once to get to the audio tab, right? So with that said, I want to show you how a screen reader can benefit a blind player by showcasing the UI for Mortal Kombat 1.
Towers. Towers of Time. Earn rewards by completing challenges in a living rotation of towers. Cross button confirm. Left and right button select towers mode. Classic. Towers of Time. Campaign. Invasions. Story. Versus. Online. Tournament. Local. Customize. Fighter. Customize fighters with cameo. Fighter. Learn. Practice. Tutorial. Fatalities. Replays. Extras. Shrine. Collection. Shrine. Settings. Adjust gameplay rules, audio mix, video calibration, and accessibility settings. PS5 Tournament. Campaign. Versus. Online. Verify. Checking. Ranked. Combat League. Ranked. Casual. Private. Versus. Invite another player to fight. Online settings. Cross button confirm. Up and down button change category. Circle button back.
Alright, as you can hear and see, there is a screen reader reading everything that is going on through the screen as the player is navigating the UI. So I was able to access the characters. I can go into the versus mode. I could even go into the practice mode. I could even go into just the settings, the gameplay, the controls, and map my buttons to my liking, because the game is reading everything as I'm scrolling. Now, of course, this could be an optional setting, so we could give the access for the player to turn it off, as most players most likely won't need that feature. But every blind player who wants to play this game could benefit, not maybe, but will benefit from that. So that would be a feature that could be implemented in this game to make it starting the accessibility process, making it more accessible to the player, so we don't have to ask our sighted peers or have to pull up a menu on our computers or phones to find out where I need to go to get to the settings, to the audio tab, and all of that. Speaking of audio tab, I would like to move on to the next thing that this game will benefit from, which is giving us access to the audio features that the game offers, and to add additional sound cues during the fights. And I'll get more into those specifically, but I just want to talk about the audio tab. So here, of course, you have like the master volume, you have the music, and then the effects, all of that stuff, right? You have access to all of those things. But as what I want to show you right now, I want to go back to Mortal Kombat 1 and give you a demonstration of what other sounds that NRS gave players to fully customize their audio experience during the fighting of the game. And during that time, you will notice that there are specific sound cues that are additionally added specifically for blind players, and then we'll take a look at some of those audio cues during the gameplay. So let's take a look at the audio sliders that Mortal Kombat 1 has to offer.
Adjust the volume of core impact sounds. 50%, 50, 60, 60, 7, 80%, 55, 50%, fighter movement. 95, 90%, 1, 98, 7, 6, 40, 7, 8, 1, 90%. Vocalization. Adjust the volume of character grunts. 60%, 50%, 50%. Gameplay modifier. Adjust the volume of environmental dangers. 50%. Special moves. Adjust the volume of special attack. Hit 50%. 55%. 50. 45. 50%. Environmental detail. Adjust the volume of secondary environmental sounds. 90%. Fight HUD. Adjust the volume of important gameplay events like meter and fatal blow. 90%. 80. 6. 20%. 95. 85. 90%. Extra audio feedback. Enable screen reading, text to speech. Health meter. Distance between fighters. Adjust the volume of a sound cue that gets faster and quieter as distance. 10%. 40%. 45%. 50%. 55%. 25. 20%. 15%. 20%. 10%. 5%. Health meter. Adjust the volume of sound. 90%. 85%. End of fight line. 55%. 50%. Ducking. 80%. 75. 80%. 75%. Blocking. 80%. 75%. 75%. Hit type. 5%.
So as you could tell on that demonstration, there are many audio sliders. Matter of fact, Mortal Kombat 1 and Street Fighter have a plethora of sound sliders that give access to the players' customization on how the game sounds to them. They have access to the footsteps. They have access to the movements, such as when you dash, when you jump, when you like do all this different moves during gameplay. Even the hit sounds, right? How loud or how soft the hits sound like, how loud or how low the specials sound like when they come out. There's even sliders for the meter gauge, right? If there's meters that make a sound when it's completely full again, you can hear all of those. Obviously, there are some sounds that are specific to the mechanics of Mortal Kombat itself, but we can focus on audio sounds that would meet specifically the needs for this game, right? So now that we took a look at those, we can now look at how we can implement some additional sound cues in the gameplay. And what I'll do to further illustrate that, I am going to turn the music down all the way during gameplay so we can focus on the audio of the fighting. All right, finally some gameplay for this game. So this is where I definitely want to focus on the most for the gameplay. Of course, we talked about the UI and and of course giving us access to the more sound sliders, but this is where the game truly shines when it comes to the gameplay overall. As far as like the sound design, everything sounds good. The hits, right? You can hear it. You can hear kind of the blood splattering and everything too. It's like all of that stuff. You can also hear like the supers, right? Let's say if I do a super.
Pay attention. Learn something.
Right? It sounds really cool. And there's a meter sound, right? That I used that meter for the super, and then there's there was a tone that let me know that the super came back. It would be cool if we can get the slider to maybe allow us to increase the volume for that particular meter gauge.
Time for a lesson. I'm not even trying yet. Whoa.
Right? So the announcer came first, and then the meter gauge sound that it's back, it's full again. We heard it. So it's really cool. However, when music is on, it's hard to hear it. So it'll be cool to get a slider for that too, But, and then of course we have the movement, right? We can hear it dashing around. Back and forth, right? And I know I'm on the left side of the screen because all of my character sounds are coming from the left side of the screen. So yeah, so then of course you can hear the jumping, right? Hear the jumping, all of that. So all of that's cool. It's great. When you can do combos, we can hear when characters come in as well, right? Depending on your type of tag that you do. Because that's obviously that's Alan coming in, and then you have Battle Beast.
Yes.
So they have their quotes that really does help in the match. Actually, as a matter of fact. So that's like an accidental feature that does help blind players to keep up with their characters. So that's it's really cool. So awesome. Kudos to the sound team for that. And again, if I move to the right side of the screen, right? So I'm gonna jump over. Now I know I'm on let's throw them. There we go. So now I know they're on my opponent's on the left side, and I'm on the right side, right? I'm on the right side because of the sound design. That does carry. It has good stereo panning, to be able to tell. Let's put him back on the other side of the screen. Okay. So where I do want specific additional sound cues, that would be beneficial. So obviously footsteps, most characters might not even have them because I was told that most of the characters are floating. So if they're in the air, they're not gonna. There's no footsteps, right? Because they're in the air, literally. So they're kind of slightly off the ground. So there's no footsteps unless you're Battle Beast or any other characters that do have footsteps. And I can confirm that those characters do have footsteps sounds. But right now, if I'm like just holding forward or backwards, there's literally nothing, no sound. So one of the things that Mortal Kombat implemented that does help blind players. Now, Mortal Kombat does have good audio design by default that we really, some players like myself are used to their sound design, so we don't need some of those things and we can turn them off because the game has you can hear their clothes, whatever they're wearing, like the rustle of it when they duck and then when they get up again, But what NetherRealm Studios did is I'm going to show you on the following clip. So right there, we focused on the character ducking and unducking, right? There is a click when they duck, and if I let go of of down, when they get up, there's another click as well, letting me know, hey, my character, duck and unduck. So funny enough, when characters teabag, you could hear it like rapidly, it makes that sound because that's what they're doing. So you click for ducking and click for unducking, right? But in this game, as you can tell, there's literally no sound at all. So during gameplay, if they duck, what if I throw a normal that is a high, and so I could, I won't be able to tell. But if I know they ducked, I know that I should be using a mid, right, or a low, to try to get to them instead of going for a high, right? So I don't know my mids, highs, and lows in this game yet, but anyway, yeah, there's no sound at all. And then the other thing I do want to cover now is blocking. So this game is obviously back to block, but if I hold back, there's no sound. So I don't know if my opponent is blocking or not, So the same idea was implemented by the sound team at NRS, where they took a different click to differentiate from the ducking and unducking, to also let us know that my character is blocking and also letting go block. So if my character blocks, there'll be a click, and if I let go, there'll also be a click. But the sound needs to stay relative to where the character's positioned on the screen, because obviously they're walking or moving backwards. So the click needs to kind of follow the characters as well wherever they are located. But yeah, there's nothing here. No sound. No, there's no. Unless they dash, which you can clearly hear it. However, when the music is on, and I'm one of those players that likes to keep the music on, the dashing is harder here, so it would be beneficial to give us, the sound, the toggles for each specific sound, for movement, for the hit sounds, for the specials when they come out, and everything. So that would definitely be beneficial as well. So yeah, and of course the meter gauge, like I said with the supers, right? You do a super.
Pay attention. Learn something.
Ooh, there it is. Okay, and then of course there's a sound meter as well for the tagging characters, right? So let's say if we used Battle Beast. There it is. It's very subtle. It's very subtle, but it's there. It's like a little tiny click. So it would be good if we can get that toggle to give us more, access to that particular slider as well. So maybe on the settings, you could say, meter sounds during gameplay, whatever. and then allow us to like crank the volume or turn it down so we can adjust it to, to our liking, right? So for sure, that will be, that the number thing with another sound. Now, the final thing that I think will benefit this game is being able for us to be able to tell if we are on either corner of the screen. Obviously, we know that in a fighting game, when either you or your opponent is in the corner, oh man, there's definitely some sauce that you can do there, right? So what I would like to do with Mortal Kombat 1 is show you guys how NetherRealm Studios yet again implemented a sound. It's like this ominous tone that comes up when you're approaching, and when then and it stays present as long as you are in the corners of the screen. So let's look into that real quick. So as you can tell right there, right? So let's say if our opponents were both like near the corner at this point. I hope I dashed them all the way in the corner, right? As the fight's going on, we have that sound kind of going on in the background to let us know that we are fighting on the right side of the screen, right? And if we are also, let's say, on the left side of the screen, right? Again, I don't know the settings to go from left to right here, so I'm just manually doing it. Like, right, so if we're like on the left side, we're able to do more like the corner stuff, more of the corner setups, and then let's say once you go back to the mid screen, right, those sounds are gone because now we're in the middle of the screen, right? So that will be that would definitely benefit this game, especially because there's during the fighting there's so much going on, but trust me, we can still are able to distinguish that sound that's in the game already. Most players, I will tell you right now, would tone down the background effects sounds so that they can focus on things that are more helpful to them, that keeps track of the arena, the stage when they're fighting throughout the game. So those are, I would say, like the biggest things that this game will benefit from. So I definitely would hope that this information would will make it all the way to the sound team at Skybound, so that can make Invincible more accessible for the blind. So I almost forgot as I was recording this video of another sound that will definitely benefit this game during movement, and that is what we call a distance between fighters sound. So what happens is when our opponents are close to each other, there is this sound that is rapidly playing, and as the further we move away from the opponents, then the sound slows down. And so I would like to show you guys how NetherRealm Studios implemented that, and it's also in Street Fighter 6. But I want to show you once again using Mortal Kombat 1 as the example. Some people call it a Geiger counter type of sound. And again, as close you are to your opponent, it ramps up really fast, and the further you move away from your opponent, it goes away. So let's check it out. That from Mortal Kombat 1. Okay, now that we've done that, basically that would help us also tell our distance between our characters, because we could be at a certain distance right here, like all the way almost across the screen, right? And so that a constant noise or click noise that ramps up that plays as you heard in Mortal Kombat 1, that would help us to keep up with the distance. That's why it's called the distance between fighters. And if I get closer, that sound ramps up faster and faster and faster until we're really close to each other, like at close range, like extreme clone range, and so it's really fast. So that is another feature that I want to see if it could be implemented in Invincible Versus. So I would like to conclude this video by once again giving huge props to the sound team at Skybound who's working on Invincible Versus. I think this game is already playable as it stands right now. During the time of this beta, people who are blind and visually impaired are playing this game and having a good time with it. But these are some of the things that will make the game more blind accessible. Once again, it's for the blind. Blind players are able to play fighting games even at a high level. So we're able to play this, all these different games as long as we have the different accessibility features that would allow us to have the same information as our other players who can see. And of course, the people who are one-handed or whatever, they already have some of those options already anyway with the modern controls that is in the game. So with that said, again, the things that I would like to have in this game would be a screen reader, an audio, more audio toggles and sliders, more additional sound cues during the fights that would allow us to play the game and be able to customize to our benefit. So those are like the main things that this game will benefit from. Again, we don't know if an accessibility consultant or maybe who's working with them that can pass along these ideas, but I really hope that this makes it all the way to Skybound, to the team at Invincible Versus. You guys are doing, the sound team is doing a great job at making this game feel cool, like fun. Like the audio is our graphics, so if you make good audio, you already made a blind player want to play your game just by how cool it sounds, so that's basically what this game is all about at the end. And so with that said, I would like to end by doing one of the showcasing a little combo that I'm working on, because I do know how to play, learning how to play this game. So let's check it out real quick before we end the video.
Time for a lesson. I'm not even trying yet. Explosive.
And with that, I would like to say thank you for watching the video. If you made it all the way through, all the way to the end, thanks again everyone who as always like my videos, who are always checking out my videos and always saying what's up during streams. And I hope that this video does reach out all the way to Skybound for Invincible Versus, as this game sounds so cool. It's an awesome game. It's a fun game just to play already, and we want more fighting games to be more accessible for the blind and visually impaired. With that said, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video, and hopefully we can continue playing Invincible Versus in the future. This is Rattlehead signing out. Peace.